Charlie Chaplin was born on April 16, 1889, in London, England. His full name was Charles Spencer Chaplin. The world would later know him as one of the greatest comedians in history, but his childhood was not full of laughter. It was full of pain, hunger, and struggle. Charlie was born into a poor family. His parents were music hall entertainers. His father, Charles Chaplin Sr., was a singer, and his mother, Hannah Chaplin, was also a performer. At first, life seemed normal. But soon, problems began. Charlie's father drank too much alcohol and left the family. His mother tried to take care of Charlie and his older half-brother Sidney on her own, but it was very difficult. They lived in small, cold rooms in poor areas of London. Sometimes they did not have enough food to eat. Sometimes they had no fire to keep warm. Charlie was only a little boy, but he already understood what poverty meant. He saw his mother working very hard, yet still crying at night because she could not give her children a better life. One day, when Charlie was about 5 years old, something happened that changed his life. His mother was performing on stage, but she suddenly lost her voice. The audience began to laugh and shout. It was a terrible moment. The manager did not know what to do. Then little Charlie was pushed onto the stage to sing in her place. At first, he was afraid. The lights were bright, and the people were noisy. But he began to sing. The audience started laughing, not to make fun of him, but because he was funny and charming. When some people threw coins onto the stage, Charlie stopped singing and picked them up first. The audience laughed even more. That was his first performance, and it was a success. However, life did not become easy after that. His mother became very sick. She suffered from mental illness and could not work anymore. Without money, Charlie and Sidney were sent to a workhouse, a place where poor people lived and worked in exchange for food. The conditions were hard. The children wore simple clothes, ate basic food, and followed strict rules. Charlie felt lonely and scared. He missed his mother very much. Later, his mother was sent to a mental hospital. Charlie and Sidney had no parents to take care of them. They had to survive on their own. Sidney tried to find work and helped Charlie as much as he could. The two brothers were very close. They trusted each other and shared everything. Even during these dark times, Charlie loved to watch people. He carefully observed how they walked, talked, and behaved. He noticed the way rich men moved with pride and how poor men walked with tired steps. He watched drunks on the street and children playing in the mud. Without knowing it, he was learning. These observations would later help him create unforgettable characters. When Charlie was around 9 years old, he joined a group of young dancers called the 8 Lancashire Lads. He traveled and performed in different theaters. The pay was small, but it was better than nothing. For the first time, Charlie felt that he belonged somewhere. The stage became his home. He loved the sound of applause. It made him forget his hunger and sadness. As he grew older, Charlie continued acting in small roles. He worked very hard and practiced every day. He wanted to be the best. Sometimes he failed. Sometimes directors shouted at him. But he did not give up. He believed that one day he would become successful. When he was a teenager, he joined a famous comedy group led by Fred Karno. This was an important moment in his life. The group performed funny sketches without much talking, using body movements and facial expressions. Charlie was perfect for this style. He was small, quick, and very expressive. People loved watching him fall, jump, and make silly faces. But behind the comedy was deep feeling. Charlie knew real sadness, and that made his performances more powerful. In 1910, the comedy group traveled to America. For Charlie, America was a new world full of opportunities. The cities were big, and the theaters were exciting. He worked harder than ever. He wanted to impress everyone. During one of these tours, a film producer noticed him. The world of movies was just beginning, and they were looking for new talent. At that time, films were silent. There was no sound, no talking. Actors had to express everything with their faces and bodies. Charlie was perfect for silent films because he had learned to communicate emotion without words. His childhood struggles had taught him how to show pain, hope, and humor all at once. But before he became famous, he still had to fight many battles. He felt insecure about his poor background. He did not have much education. Sometimes he felt that he did not belong among successful people. Yet, inside him was a strong dream. He did not want to be poor forever. He did not want children to suffer the way he had suffered. Charlie's early life was a mixture of tears and laughter. He experienced hunger, loneliness, and fear. He saw his mother lose her health and his father disappear from his life. He lived in institutions for the poor and worked from a very young age. But he also discovered something powerful inside himself, the ability to make people laugh. For Charlie, comedy was not just about jokes. It was about survival. When he made people laugh, he felt strong. When audiences clapped, he felt loved. The stage gave him hope. It gave him a future. The poor little boy from London did not know that one day the whole world would know his name. He did not know that millions of people would laugh at his films. He only knew that he had to keep moving forward, step by step, like a small tramp walking down a long road. His journey from poverty to the stage was not easy, but it made him who he was. The pain of his childhood became the heart of his art. And that is how the story of a hungry, lonely boy slowly turned into the amazing history of one of the greatest entertainers the world has ever seen. After years of struggle on the stage, Charlie Chaplin was finally ready for a new chapter in his life. He had traveled from England to America with a comedy group and had learned how to make people laugh without speaking many words. He was young, ambitious, and full of energy. The world of film was still new at that time. Movies were short, silent, and simple. No one knew that this young man would soon change cinema forever. In 1913, Charlie was noticed by Mack Sennett, the head of Keystone Studios. Sennett was looking for new actors for his silent comedy films. Charlie was invited to join the studio. At first, he felt nervous. Acting in films was different from acting on stage. On stage, the audience laughed immediately, and he could feel their reaction. In films, there was only a camera in front of him. There was no sound, no clapping, no smiling faces. He had to trust that people would laugh later when they watched the movie. His first films were not very successful. The directors told him what to do, how to move, and how to fall. Charlie did not always agree with them. He believed comedy should come from the heart, not just from silly accidents. He wanted to create a character that people could understand and love. One day in 1914, while preparing for a new film, Charlie was asked to choose a costume. He walked into the dressing room and began to think carefully. He wanted something funny, but also something special. He picked a pair of very large pants that were too loose for him. Then he chose a tight jacket that did not match the pants. He found big shoes that were too large and put them on the wrong feet. He added a small bowler hat and a tiny toothbrush mustache. Finally, he took a thin walking cane. When he looked at himself in the mirror, he saw someone new. That was the birth of the Tramp. The Tramp was poor but proud. He was hungry but hopeful. He walked with a funny style, his feet turning outward and his cane swinging gently. He tried to act like a gentleman, even though his clothes were old and torn. The character was both comic and sad at the same time. People laughed at his clumsy movements, but they also felt sorry for him. Charlie later said that when he put on the costume, he did not know who the character was at first. But once he started walking, everything became clear. The Tramp had a personality. He was kind, brave, and romantic. He always tried to do the right thing, even if he failed. The first film where this character appeared was Kid Auto Races at Venice, in 1914. Audiences quickly noticed him. The Tramp was different from other comedy characters. He was not just a man who slipped on banana peels. He had emotions. He could make people laugh and cry in the same scene. Charlie worked very hard. He was not only an actor but also wanted to control his films. Soon, he began directing his own movies. He carefully planned every movement and every expression. Silent films had no spoken words, so body language was very important. Charlie used his eyes, hands, and walk to tell the story. Even without sound, audiences understood everything. The Tramp became more popular with each film. In movies like The Tramp, 1915, and The Bank, Charlie showed that comedy could have deep feeling. The Tramp often fell in love with a beautiful woman, but she usually chose someone richer. At the end, the Tramp walked away alone down a long road. It was a simple ending, but it touched people's hearts. What made the Tramp so powerful was Charlie's own childhood. He understood poverty because he had lived it. He understood hunger, loneliness, and hope. He gave these real emotions to his character. That is why audiences around the world connected with him. They saw themselves in the Tramp. By 1916, Charlie was one of the most famous actors in America. He signed a contract that paid him a huge amount of money for that time. Newspapers wrote about him. Fans waited outside studios to see him. He had become an international star. However, fame did not change his working style. He remained a perfectionist. Sometimes he repeated the same scene dozens of times until it was exactly right. Other actors and workers sometimes felt tired, but Charlie believed that good art required patience. He wanted every film to be better than the last one. As years passed, his films became longer and more serious. In 1921, he released The Kid, where the tramp takes care of a poor child. The story was funny but also very emotional. Many people cried while watching it. It proved that comedy could tell meaningful stories about life. In 1925, he made The Gold Rush, where the tramp searches for gold in cold mountains. In one famous scene, he cooks and eats his own shoe because he is so hungry. It was funny, but it also showed the pain of poverty. Again, audiences laughed and felt sad at the same time. By now, the Tramp was known all over the world. Even in countries where people did not speak English, they understood him. Silent cinema had no language barriers. His small mustache, bowler hat, and cane became symbols of hope and humor. When sound films, also called talkies, became popular in the late 1920s, many silent film actors lost their careers. People wanted to hear voices. But Charlie was not ready to give up silent storytelling. In 1931, he released City Lights, a mostly silent film. Many people thought it would fail because it had no spoken dialogue. But it became a great success. It showed that true emotion does not need words. The creation of the Tramp changed cinema forever. Charlie proved that comedy could be intelligent and emotional. He showed that a simple character could represent millions of poor and struggling people around the world. From a poor boy in London to the most famous silent film star, Charlie's journey was extraordinary. The Tramp was more than just a funny man with big shoes. He was a symbol of hope. He showed that even the smallest, poorest person could walk proudly, dream big, and never lose kindness. Through the Tramp, Charlie Chaplin gave the world laughter during difficult times. Wars, poverty, and sadness were part of the early 20th century. But in dark cinemas, people forgot their worries for a while and smiled. And at the end of many films, when the Tramp walked alone toward the horizon, swinging his cane and stepping lightly down the road, audiences felt something special. They felt that no matter how hard life becomes, it is important to keep walking forward with courage and a little bit of humor.